Good afternoon. This is my Caritas project for Nursing 371. My name is John Coward. We're going to go ahead today and get started with our PowerPoint presentation here. With our first slide, we're going to see Gene Watson's 10 curative factors that were developed in 1979. You can see here the 10 different factors. Our presentation is going to focus on the number 4, the developing of a helping and trusting relationship. One of the things I think that most nurses are taught, and from a very early time, developing that helping and trusting relationship to create a bond with our clients and to create the best outcomes for our clients. I know that as this process developed and went from the curative factors to the Caritas process, Gene Watson took that caring and compassion and developed that into a more caring science and a more development of that caring feeling between client and nurse and creating that loving bond to create a trusting relationship. We see here that as the process evolved in 2002 to the Caritas process, we see again that there are 10 different processes here. We also, again, are dealing with number 4. As you can see, there are not too many changes in the wording. Developing and sustaining a helping and trusting, authentic, caring relationship. Not much change, but however, a few key words in there that I feel are substantial to change in this process. The word sustaining. One of the things that we do as nurses is develop a trusting relationship, but our relationship is a sustained relationship with our client. There are times we are with our clients 8, 10, and 12 hours a day, sometimes 3, 4, 5 days a week. We may be with our client more than family members are with them. Our relationship has to be sustained and has to develop a trust and caring in order to create the ability for us to help them to get better and to take care of themselves. The authentic part of this statement and caring relationship, I think we all have seen what I guess I would call going through the motions. We're not authentic. We say the words, but we don't have any meaning behind them. We don't have any eye contact. We don't have any thoughts or showing emotion to it. That authentic care clients can see and they can detect. They will know if the nurse is not genuine and not caring, and if they're going through the motions. I think sometimes in the nursing profession, with the amount of patients that we have to take care of and technology, sometimes we lose that authenticity, and it is something that as a nurse we need to look at and sometimes remind ourselves to get back to. Simple things like holding somebody's hand. As we see here in this slide, when we talk about developing and sustaining helping and trusting authentic caring relationships for Caritas number 4, we see that, like I said, the simple things of holding someone's hand, listening to them, eye contact, being at their level, creating that genuine bond and care will help in creating that nursing relationship that we're looking for, that will help improve client outcomes and make our interactions with our clients and their families better. One of the things that we see here in this slide when we talk about professional and caring healing is a simple thing of being down at the client's level, being close to them, creating eye contact with them, having that closeness, that interaction. I found as a pediatric nurse, and I was 6'1", that I intimidated and scared a lot of my clients because of my height and my size. It was easy for me to remedy that. All I had to do was get down to their level, play on the floor with them, sit down next to the bed and talk to them and interact. And that fear was alleviated and that trusting relationship was created, allowing me to create those bonds and develop that care in my treatments. As we see here in this slide, the Caritas nurse and practicing Caritas nursing, we see that when we talk about developing that trusting and caring relationship, that Nurses can care, what I guess I would say, too much. There are boundaries that we have to set for ourselves, not only for our client's sake, but for our emotional well-being. I know that as that gentleman nurse there with his face in his hands, that was me at certain times in the area that I worked with, pediatrics and oncology. Death and dying was part of that. I took care of a little 10-year-old boy who I was the first nurse to admit him. I was his primary nurse. I took care of him through most of his treatment. I took care of him on his post-treatment follow-up care. He was in the hospital for about 5 months. I got to know him and his family very well. He would come in periodically for checkups just to see how he was doing, and I would take care of him when he came in. He came in one day, was discharged home, and we got a phone call saying that he was coming back to the hospital because he wasn't feeling good. I was leaving because it was the end of my shift, but I thought, okay, I'll get to take care of him when he comes back, and I'll see him. Unfortunately, when he arrived at the hospital, he arrived in cardiac arrest and was pronounced and had passed. That was very difficult for me because I was just playing with him the night before. I was very close to the family, like I said, and I went to the funeral service. They had a PowerPoint slide presentation, and in that presentation I was in about 60% of the pictures. I found that in my development of my caring relationship with this client, that going to this funeral and the emotions that it brought out in me, I almost left nursing because of it. So it created a situation where I found that for my own health and well-being, I needed to create those boundaries. I didn't go to any more funeral services for any of the kids. I would care for them. I would take care of them. I would give them 110%. I would be involved with the families, but I couldn't take that next step to go to funeral services just for my own peace of mind. And I think because I didn't take that next step, it allowed me to function as a better nurse and touch more lives because I was not necessarily drawn to leave the profession. I was lucky. Most of my days were spent, as that other picture demonstrates, a young nurse, male nurse, having interactions with his clients that were fun and interactive and playful and good times. One of the things that I saw when I was putting this presentation together was this picture of this older gentleman here. And in Caritas 4, we talk about building a trusting relationship. And it reminds me of when I was in nursing school and how when I would walk into a client's room, I wasn't the confident nurse that I am today. I would go in and I would be talking to myself a little bit under my breath about certain things that I was going to look at or things that I was going to do. And when I had finished taking care of my client and was getting ready to leave for the night, I went in and asked him if he needed anything else. And he said, well, can I talk to you for a minute? And I said, sure, no problem. And we were talking, and he said, you took excellent care of me tonight. You're a fine young man. I think you're going to be a great nurse. But he goes, when you come into the room, you're talking to yourself sometimes, and it makes me a little uneasy as a client. It's hard for me to trust what you're going to say. He goes, you took good care of me, and I know that you're a caring and compassionate person. He goes, when you go into a room, go in with confidence. Don't talk to yourself into your breath. That way you won't destroy any trust that you made with your client over your shift. That was something that I took from me and put into my practice every day. It was something that I learned and something that will stay with me forever in developing that trusting relationship. That is my presentation. Thank you for your time. I did have some references when I was putting this together. Again, I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you very much, and good night.